Amanda Bynes has recently been trying to make a comeback in Hollywood.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you. Really great.
You look beautiful.
Thank you, so do you.
After that highly publicized breakdown back in 2014.
You know you'd love to try it. The thing that makes me different is I'm a little eccentric. I'm not afraid to change my ways while you march in position.
Diamonds, diamonds, diamonds on my neck, on my wrist. Diamonds, diamonds, diamonds on my fish. Yeah, I'll wait.
Who's crazy? Who breaks the neck to peek in your window? Who's crazy? Does that make you crazy? Tell me who's crazy?
Hello everyone, and welcome to a very dark episode of Secret Society. I've gone into depth about Amanda Bynes' rise as a starlet on Nickelodeon. Last episode, I explored Amanda's iconic 2013 crash out, and how Sam Latfy conducted a heist on Amanda Bynes to get her under a conservatorship. Last we left off, Amanda was under complete control by her parents. She's attempting to get back into acting and apologizing for her crass words to Drake. But Amanda Bynes was only telling half the truth. See, if you ask the courts or her parents at this time, Amanda was doing just fine in her conservatorship and was perfectly happy relinquishing control to her parents. But in this episode, I'm gonna detail Amanda Bynes' gritty Los Angeles love story to her sober living boyfriend, Amanda's very real second attempt at a rap career, her second complete transformation of her career, her subsequent OF, and just how she broke out of a nearly decade-long conservatorship. I'll also be doing a formal investigation into Paul Saminsky, Amanda Bynes' podcast co-host, with some terrifying allegations. And to end the finale of the series, I'll be diving into the darkest secret Amanda Bynes ever had to keep, and just how she allegedly leaked the most notorious blind item in Hollywood history. But before we get too far into this, hello everyone, my name's Jake and welcome to Secret Society. This is the first series I've done on my channel and it's all about Amanda Bynes, so if you like these kinds of topics, be sure to stick around, comment what you think, give me new video ideas because I'm always looking for topics like this. Anyway, this one is a lot, so grab a snack, get comfortable, and prepare yourself. To start the story off, we can't talk about Amanda Bynes post-2018 without talking about one of the most infamous celebrity impersonators of all time, Persian LA27. Now, I'm gonna go over this briefly because we don't have a lot of time, but because Amanda had deactivated and reactivated her social media so many times, some fans took it upon themselves to start impersonating her. The most infamous account claiming to be Amanda was Persian LA27. Now, there was heavy speculation that this account could have been Amanda, claiming that she was engaged to be married and even possibly pregnant. Now, this entire situation got really murky because this account would post never before seen photos of Amanda. Many passerbys on social media just assumed Ashley Banks was Amanda Bynes' alter ego. Persian LA27 claimed as Amanda that she had to terminate her pregnancy at only 13 years old because a Nickelodeon executive had impregnated her, and that the only reason she was put in the mental institution was because she revealed the abuse enacted by her own father. Because Amanda's story was such a roller coaster up until this point, a lot of people took these claims at face value. And when Persian LA27 posted screenshots from inside of Amanda Bynes' Instagram, people genuinely believed it was Amanda, being forcefully put under a conservatorship and unable to speak her own mind on her official social media accounts, especially given that she had just deactivated her Twitter and come back. It felt like Persian LA27 could have been her actual outlet to share her true feelings without censorship. However, it would later come out that Amanda Bynes' Instagram was hacked. And this was all on my old Twitter account, but I do remember going back and forth with Persian LA27 in the DMs, all about Britney Spears. These claims got so far widespread that Amanda and her lawyer had to comment in April of 2018. Amanda's lawyer told People magazine she'd been, quote, terrorized by fake Twitter accounts impersonating her, including one, Persian LA27, that was spreading false rumors. Amanda publicly denied the account, tweeting, "I repeat, I am not at Persian LA27. I am not getting married and I am not pregnant." She then tweeted at Twitter to take down the imposter accounts. However, Twitter sided with Persian LA27, citing her account as mere parody of Amanda. Amanda's lawyer criticized this move, saying Twitter was allowing for the mocking of a mental health crisis. 2018 was also a year of apologies for Amanda to her parents. Amanda apologizing to the media for lying on behalf of her parents, saying they abused her. This was a big deal for Amanda's case, as the last anyone really saw or heard from her was when she had platinum blonde hair in court and was telling the entire world she had a microchip. Shortly after her Paper magazine comeback interview went live in 2018, a few months after, in January 2019, Amanda would be documented to have relapsed on substances.
The 32-year-old is receiving treatment for depression and mental health issues after suffering a relapse. Bynes, who checked into a rehab facility in January, has been struggling since the end of last year after she started to pursue work in Hollywood again.
I do miss acting.
She first revealed her desire to return to the screen in an interview with fashion blogger Diana Madison in June 2017.
I want to do TV, maybe a few guest spots on some shows that I'm a fan of, and maybe another TV show where I'm the star of it.
She wanted to re-enter the business with excitement and hope for the best. I have no fear of the future. I've been through the worst and came out on the other end and survived it, so I just feel like it's only up from here.
For the entire year of 2019, Amanda would enter a sober living facility, emerging in December of the same year completely unrecognizable. For one, she had a face tattoo of a heart under her eye, but she also had soft pink hair. In February of 2020, Amanda announced on Instagram that she was engaged to her longtime friend and fellow sober living resident, Paul Michael. But within weeks of the engagement announcement, Amanda and Paul briefly split, then reunited one day later. E! News reported that they called off their engagement after about 3 weeks, but were back together almost immediately. Next month, Amanda would make the shocking announcement that she was pregnant. Both Amanda and Paul posting ultrasound pictures saying, quote, "baby on board" and "baby in the making." Now, both posts were deleted within hours. And very shortly after, Amanda's lawyer came out saying, quote, "Amanda is not pregnant. She is seeking treatment for ongoing mental health issues." But because Amanda posted that ultrasound picture, fans began assuming the worst. And they actually came to the realization that even if Amanda was pregnant, she probably wouldn't be allowed to have the kid, as she was still under a conservatorship. And if she did get pregnant, I mean, Britney Spears had a forced IUD. Would Amanda even be allowed to carry the baby if she were to get pregnant? These questions began lighting up message boards online, but Amanda, Paul, nor her lawyer ever mentioned who the baby is in that ultrasound ever again. So we may never know. In October of 2020, Amanda reemerged on social media with another dramatic makeover. She created a new Instagram account and posted photos of herself with jet black hair, wearing a plaid shirt and a black heart tattoo on her cheek. This was all leading up to the reemergence of Amanda Bynes as a rapper. In the beginning of 2021, Amanda would release her first song she wrote by herself with her fiance Paul, titled Diamonds.
Diamonds, diamonds, diamonds on my neck, on my wrist. Diamonds, diamonds, diamonds on my fish, yeah, I'll wait. Diamonds, diamonds, diamonds on my neck, on my wrist.
Now keep in mind, this is 2021. Everyone is protesting outside of Stanley Moss Courthouse against Britney Spears' conservatorship. At the time, minimal information about Amanda's situation had surfaced. I remember being at the courthouse and numerous conservatorship activists begging me to cover the Free Amanda story at the time. But every situation is different, and there definitely wasn't enough information on Amanda's situation back then for me to confidently speak on it at all. But because the word conservatorship was so alarming to the general public, when Amanda came out in 2022 and explained how she wanted out of her conservatorship, she made international headlines.
What's up, Instagram? Amanda Bynes here. My court date is coming up in 2 weeks. I want to thank you all so much for your love and support. Peace out.
This same month in 2022, Amanda launched a fresh Instagram profile and shared videos updating fans and confirming her conservatorship hearing was imminent. On the same day, she showed a close-up of her face, revealing that her heart tattoo was being removed, and it faded significantly. She dyed all of her hair a uniform dark brown, no more silvery ombre, and even gone back to that classic Cassie style and shaved part of it off.
Hey everybody, I just wanted to make a post to let you guys know that I'm going to start wearing wigs now. So I'm totally going to be wearing wigs now. For those of you that follow me, I am no longer wearing wigs. The wigs were just too much for me.
Unlike Britney Spears, Amanda's wishes were granted almost immediately, as on March 22nd, 2022, after nearly 9 years, Amanda Bynes' conservatorship was officially terminated. But the next month of April would prove to be a big one for Amanda Bynes' headlines. Amanda would return with a new song featuring her fiance Paul called Fairfax.
Fairfax flea market shopping, flexing with Fendi. Popping bands, Balenciaga, bitch, I got plenty. On the low, I be rocking that polo, yeah, you don't know, yo, shout out Kyoto and Oslo. I flex in Manolos. All these hitters can't see me now. I'm Amanda and it's going down. Yeah, I get it from the bottom ground. So come fuck with me and my sound.
In this era, Amanda was spending a lot of time with her sober living boyfriend, Paul, but she also began making concerning posts about him that would cause the general public to question his morals. Amanda called the police twice to her home, citing that Paul, her fiance, was abusing and other disturbing claims.
Paul told me that he stopped taking his medications. I looked at his phone and he was looking at mom and son. He vandalized his mom's home. He broke all of her pictures and put salmon under her bed. His behavior is alarming and I'm afraid of what he'll do. I forgot to mention, I found Paul's stash of he's been using for the past 6 months. He needs serious help. I kicked him out of my house.
Amanda took to Instagram saying, "To clarify, I said what I said about Paul relapsing because he did. I don't know when he got clean, and because of the disturbing he was watching, I assumed he must be on drugs now. Also, Paul did vandalize his mom's home 2 weeks ago. His brother Mark called the cops on him, but Paul left before they got there. When I saw the mom and son on Paul's phone, I got upset and kicked him out. When he left, I was worried he would vandalize my home because he still had the keys. That's why I called the police. At any rate, I shouldn't have said he's currently using because he's been sober for 2 weeks. Also, he told me he searched MILFs and other content auto-filled the search engine." She further clarified this in another follow-up video on Instagram.
Correction. Paul looked up MILFs. Moms and sons just popped up. Also, I went to CVS, bought a drug test. Paul tested clean. Paul's clean. Also, I had something in my teeth in the last video.
Now, this would all come to an end in July of 2022 when Amanda made it clear that she had broken off her engagement with Paul for good. For the rest of 2022, it appeared Amanda and her team had gone back to her non-existent social media presence from years prior, letting the fire from her conservatorship and subsequent breaking off of her engagement settle. People assumed Amanda was doing much better. Amanda even agreeing to an All That reunion for March of 2023, finally reuniting with her Nickelodeon cast and acknowledging her legacy as a child star. But as 2023 came to fruition, all of that would change. Reports say that in early 2023, Amanda was found wandering the streets of downtown Los Angeles naked and disoriented, calling 911 herself and saying she was coming down from a quote psychotic episode. She was hospitalized for evaluation.
Not long after the alleged incident, Amanda's on-off again fiance Paul Michael shared this cryptic post on Instagram.
By the time I say I'm just out, none of you ever have to hear from me solo. Well, I'm just gonna be out for a minute, so.
Now, this was such a stark contrast from all the progress Amanda had made in the years prior, saying she didn't want a conservatorship and she wanted to take back control of her life. Calling the police on yourself for having a psychotic episode when you're fresh out of a conservatorship almost seems like grounds for another conservatorship. And thus, people began posting TikToks of Amanda on the streets of LA.
Amanda, say what's up. What's up? We just walking the streets of Hollywood. It's St. Patrick's Day. I saw my girl walking, so I said I had to say what's up.
It was at this time that Amanda would shut the door on the cast reunion and cancel her appearance due to health concerns. Amanda was allegedly pursuing her nail tech license at the time as well, but had failed the exam multiple times. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. I remember when Amanda Bynes first reemerged on social media in late 2023. In an Instagram video, she grinned with her platinum blonde hair and announced she was launching a podcast with her quote, best friend, a biochemist named Paul. But this was Amanda's fan base's first time ever hearing of this new Paul. Not to be confused with her ex-fiance, Paul Michael. This is Paul Saminsky.
Oh, me and Paul Saminsky are working on a podcast. It's super impressive that Paul is going to be a part of it because he's a scientist and a biochemist. So having his beautiful mind being a part of this podcast is just going to bring it to another level, I think, because he's going to ask great questions, and I think he'll kind of carry most of the weight in terms of just like topics of conversation. Like whenever he and I talk on the phone or I see him in person, he's always just so interesting, and I cannot wait for him to co-host the podcast with me. At first, we're going to interview our friends, and then we're hoping to take it mainstream and interview celebrities and artists like I posted in the other video. So that's about it Sorry about my lame ass sign off. I always kind of sign off these Instagram videos stupidly.
Amanda and Paul S. first crossed paths in a way much too common for Amanda at this point. They became friends while each other were both in rehab. By October 2023, Amanda was even talking about a coffee table book with Paul, complete with a Los Angeles photo shoot.
What's up, Instagram? I'm really excited to tell you about a coffee table book that I'm working on with Paul Saminsky, Lisa Lee, and Kara Grusa. We are doing a top secret photo shoot tomorrow in LA. If you want details, please text me.
Amanda described Paul as, quote, my beautiful friend with a beautiful mind who would make a great co-host. When December 9th, 2023 arrived, the podcast debuted on Spotify under the name Amanda Bynes and Paul Saminsky, the podcast. The first guest was Dahlia Moth, a young tattoo artist Amanda already knew. They'd met years prior casually in a Spirit Halloween store. It seemed like anyone could make it on Amanda's podcast if they dreamed hard enough. In all the social media clips, Amanda played interviewer and thanked Dahlia, saying, quote, first episode done in the studio. When the podcast officially dropped, fans tuned in eagerly.
Hi everyone, welcome to Amanda Bynes and Paul Saminsky, the podcast. Today we are welcoming Dahlia Moth on our show. Okay, awesome. Are you ready for the question?
I think so.
Okay, great. Our first question for you, Dahlia, is what do you do for work and what inspired you to be in that industry?
Okay, so I'm a tattoo artist.
That's super rad. So
that's incredible.
But this honeymoon period was short. Just 9 days later, Amanda posted on her Instagram story that she was, quote, taking a pause on the podcast. She explained somewhat tearfully that they simply couldn't get the type of guests she wanted. Names like Jack Harlow, Drake, or Post Malone were just out of reach. She told Instagram, even though the podcast is doing really well and the response has been great, I'm gonna take a pause on it for now.
So even though the podcast is doing really well and the response has been great, I am going to take a pause on it for now. We are not able to get the type of guests that I'd like on the show, like say Jack Harlow or Drake or Post Malone. So maybe one day if we're able to get those types of guests on the show, we will resume the podcast. But for now, I'm taking a pause on it. Thank you everyone who watched. I really hope you enjoyed it. And that is all for now.
The reaction was swift. Some viewers were upset or confused. Amanda had just come off a turbulent period in 2023. She'd spent time in hospitals and crisis intervention, including her 5150 psychiatric hold in June. And her conservatorship had only ended that spring. Fans who knew Amanda's story immediately grew concerned that all this pod launch drama might be too much pressure too fast. Meanwhile, others were hoping she'd come back even stronger. In fact, a day after announcing the hiatus, Amanda told fans she'd resume the podcast after all. In a TikTok video on December 19th, she apologized for sounding impatient, saying, quote, podcasts take time to really grow, saying that she had other guests lined up and was, quote, really looking forward to filming the next episode. She even teased a new guest, a local celebrity named Nick Mendez.
So I wanted to post something about how I felt last night after I made a post that we were pausing the podcast. I felt really sad and I was in a really bad mood because the podcast was actually something that I was really looking forward to filming next week, and it was something that I was really happy and excited about. So I talked to a few friends and they all said to keep going. So we're going to continue the podcast and we are filming next Friday as planned. I think that podcasts just take time to grow, to build a following. So I shouldn't have said what I said last night about not getting the type of guests that we were looking forward to getting, because you never know, we might get them in the future. And the guests that we have lined up are actually really great. So I'm really looking forward to filming the next episode, and that's about it.
But the second episode and any after that never materialized. As far as the public record goes, no new episodes of Amanda and Paul have ever been released. And Paul Saminsky hasn't announced any new projects since. Around the same time the podcast was airing, an alarming storm blew up online. Not because of anything Amanda said, but because of social media rumors about Paul Saminsky. In mid-December, a TikTok user claiming to be Paul's ex-roommate under the handle @EverybodyHatesXtina posted a bombshell expose, and she painted a chilling picture. Paul was allegedly a pathological liar and a danger, and she accused him of lying about his entire career.
And we need to get this out there. The guy that Amanda has made this podcast with is not a scientist. He's claiming to her that he's a scientist. He is my old roommate. He is a sociopath. He had lied to me, said he was a scientist for over 7 years. We were friends. I would be his cat sitter and dog sitter when he would go out of town for over 7 years. And then one day we moved in together. I went out of town and he sacrificed my dog's life, unalived him to a blood moon or something. and then deleted all the footage and then lied about it for months and months and months, and then left, like literally went outside for a cigarette and left the moment that I got into the security footage because he knew there was videos of him doing it on there. This is a dog that he bought. He stole my money. I didn't know that at the time, but yeah, he bought this dog and literally left her, okay? Literally left.
Now, I want to stress those are just rumors, not confirmed facts. Independent researchers and fans have since debunked most of these allegations. For example, Paul's academic background turned out to be real. His name appears to be published on scientific papers, including a 2019 journal article on Mycobacterium tuberculosis protein. So it's clear he has genuine scientific training. The claim that he's not a real scientist is false. He even studied science at UCLA, though details like where he exactly was enrolled remain murky. And the dog stories, they simply just don't have any merit. Investigators who look into it say that the extraordinary claim that Paul or sacrificed his dog is only hearsay. Now, Amanda posted a lengthy message saying she'd been reading horrible comments directed at Paul, and she did not approve of the harassment that had been happening to Paul. She warned fans not to take these stories at face value, calling them unconfirmed hearsay. By early 2024, Amanda's focus had shifted yet again. She told fans she was struggling with depression, launched a fashion collaboration with artist Austin Bobbitt for Ass Pizza, and even joined OF, though it was only to connect and message her fans. She made it clear she wouldn't be posting any, quote, sleazy content. For her first fashion collaboration, she even hosted a sold-out pop-up art show in Los Angeles. Again, this time with Austin Bobbitt. The event showcased her drawings she'd been working on that would be turned into different fashions. So it's safe to say that it's impossible to predict Amanda Bynes' next move. From debuting to millions on Nickelodeon to dancing across the stage and stealing our hearts in various movies and TV shows, Amanda Bynes will always be a 90s and early 2000s pop culture icon. Some may argue that her crash out in 2012 aided her infamy, turning her into an iconic tabloid princess that stood out from the rest. But Amanda Bynes, most of all, has been turned into an example. She was one of the first child stars to be given the infrastructure to be a massive celebrity. Her career was beginning before Britney had even released Baby One More Time. Research on child stardom and what it can do to a person was minimal. And because Amanda was so tenacious, the men in suits collecting the checks put her to work till she couldn't even think clearly anymore. While Amanda's career may not have gone how the industry expected, their lack of care and their vulture-like mentality when Amanda was struggling truly speaks on the brutality of Hollywood, and that no matter who you are, no matter how talented, beautiful, hardworking, or special you are, Hollywood takes no prisoners, and you either soar to the top or publicly crash out to the bottom. It's important to note that since her conservatorship was highly publicized during the Free Britney movement, Amanda began being followed relentlessly by paparazzi yet again.
Can I autograph then? I'm very persistent.
I'd rather you not be. Because I feel like you're kind of stalking me right now.
I'm not stalking. I've seen you walking. This is a public, this is the world is very public.
Amanda looked so different to the world than the 10-year-olds they were introduced to on All That. People began making videos and clickbait articles wondering, quote, what happened to Amanda Bynes? And Amanda began posting saying she was going to go on Ozempic so she could look better for paparazzi.
Oh, I'm going on Ozempic. So excited. I'm 173 now, so I hope to get down to like 130, which would be awesome. So I look better in paparazzi pictures and you don't see my double chin from strange angles. Yeah, so that's about it.
It's truly heartbreaking to me that Amanda feels like she needs to change her appearance because cameras are hunting her down to this day. It's been over a decade since the Mint hair, and she's still dodging the paparazzi. Amanda had truly made a 180 in her personal life. Now, I told you to remember in episode 1 of this series, the period of time between 2007 and 2010. This is where I attempted to track down the exact reason Amanda Bynes made her complete transformation. What really happened to Amanda between 2007's Hairspray and Sydney White? Well, while researching this video, I came across a podcast that brought some alarming perspective to this matter. And trust me, you're gonna wanna sit down for this because it blew my entire mind. NT Lawyer from Crazy Days and Nights was infamous for leaking blind items that notoriously came true in the early 2000s. One of the main blind items bringing him fame was the leak that Britney Spears' sister Jamie Lynn was pregnant. Because I want to be crystal clear, this podcast is not confirmed and this is only a blind item. However, the source of the blind item is what's interesting. And that's obviously not confirmed either. However, as we all know, Jamie Lynn Spears would give birth to a baby girl in 2007. But this is only a blind item, so take it with a grain of salt.
I wrote in September 12th, 2007, I had written this teenage B-list actress may still be a teenager, but she also may be pregnant. And the single actress has told producers it's just a little weight gain, but the producers want her to take a pregnancy test and prove to them she's not pregnant before they make any additional commitments. And so far, she has refused. When Amanda told me her story, then this all kind of fell into line. And it also fell into line why the other producers didn't know, because the big guy didn't want them to know and the pregnant teenager didn't want them to know. It was basically like a standoff.
Now, it's important to note that this is the very first time the rumor surfaced besides when it was said in The Inquirer. No one was suspecting that a giant network like Nickelodeon would ever have one of their main teen stars have a child of their own. So that was NT Lawyer's first blind item about Jamie Lynn Spears. But after meeting Amanda, he would allegedly get a lot more clarity to the situation.
So then on October 5th, this is the blind that Amanda gave me. I don't even know exactly how you define what list someone is when they're on some ensemble show watched by teens and preteens. So go with the above and make her a female, make her pregnant, which is causing the producers to have a heart attack because they really don't need any more scandals. But wait, there's more. One of the producers who's old enough to be her grandfather shouldn't be having a heart attack because of shock because he is the one who knocked her up. New boyfriends are being lined up as we speak.
This blind item implied the terrifying picture that a Nickelodeon executive was the father of Jamie Lynn Spears' daughter. Obviously, none of this is confirmed, but if you remember, Jamie Lynn explained in her new book that Taylor, Spears' ex-business manager, sent her to Mercy Ministries the second she found out she was pregnant. And it sort of implied that she was forced to carry the baby. Termination was not an option. So all of the disturbing imagery aside, while I was listening to this lawyer explain his stories about Amanda, he recounted the first time he met her and explains that she was the one that leaked to him and the entire world that Jamie Lynn Spears was pregnant by a fully grown Nickelodeon executive. By telling this story, Amanda Bynes unknowingly blew the whistle on Nickelodeon all the way back in 2007.
So if anybody was in a position to know everything about it, it would be Amanda, you know, and she told me that story. And I think she told me the story just to tell me the story because I didn't tell her who I was. And I think she felt good just telling somebody about it. Just she was so passionate about it, very passionate about it. But nobody's paying attention. There is just no traction. And then Star Magazine saw it. And they ran with it at the end of December. And then Perez stole from Star, who stole from me. But I didn't care, because I thought it would shut down Nickelodeon. I thought it would shut them down. I mean, I was optimistic, you know, I just thought it would. And later, Amanda told me she saw it on Perez and she thought the same thing, and I just couldn't understand it. I couldn't understand why it wasn't shut down. I mean, they had been hiding things forever.
The daddy of Jamie Lynn Spears' baby may not be Casey Aldridge, her boyfriend, according to an internet blogger. Star Magazine saying, sources close to the family as well, that he may not be the dad, that Spears' friends and family think it's an older man who would face obvious charges because she's only 16 years old.
Yikes.
All together now?
Ew.
Family members told Star they believe the real father is a much older executive at Zoe 101. Quote, Casey is being paid off by family to be the fall guy while the real father remains unidentified.
Jamie Spears thinks I'm cute. Jamie Spears loves me.
I do not love you because I don't even like you.
Now, while a lot of online detectives have attempted to piece together Jamie Lynn Spears and Dan Schneider together, he obviously wasn't the only older executive working on Zoe 101. And this blind item doesn't explicitly state that it's about Dan Schneider. A simple Google search of the situation will pull up Bill O'Dowd, another older producer on Zoe 101. According to Crazy Days and Nights, whoever this blind item is about has multiple alleged victims. An additional blind item left just months after the previous reads, quote, so it turns out that Jamie Lynn Spears wasn't the only person that our producer had a fling with. No, it wasn't anyone on Jamie's show, but it turns out he has made a habit of doing the same thing in the past to a number of different other tweeners. Not necessarily getting them pregnant, except for one very big exception. Most of the time, our producer would just make advances on the lesser stars of the shows that he worked on. But the one other time he got someone pregnant was someone who is a much bigger star than Jamie Lynn was or is. In that instance, the actress got an abortion and a healthy sum of money from the producer. Everything was hushed up because the show was making way too much money.
I noticed this was not the same Amanda that I saw in the spring. She was a little bit off. She wasn't crazy. Not crazy, but she wasn't like she would be later. It wasn't like that. It was just a little bit disconcerting, just a little bit off. And she just wasn't the carefree kind of person that I'd seen before. And I asked her about it. She said it was just because that Sydney White had bombed and Sydney had come out a couple weeks earlier or something like that, and it didn't do well at all. And after Hairspray did so well and then Sydney White did so poorly, this is October 2007. And I think the decisions that she made between October and, say, December of 2007 set the course for her for a lot of this. And then she told me that a guy that she had gone out with for a hot minute, who was a couple of decades older than her, had asked her out a couple of days earlier. Prior to us seeing her at the Improv, she turned him down. And he called her horrible names and said her movie sucked and then hung up. And she said that, you know, the word that he called her, which was a whore, always triggered her. And then she told me a story, and she said that the first time that she had remembered hearing the word, just like in general conversation, not like from a movie, she said she was doing all that, and she didn't remember if she told me what season. She just said that she was really young, but we were just talking about the word whore, and she overheard some producer complain to another producer that they had hired actresses and not whores, and none of the actresses would F. And she still remembered that, you know, to this day. And that they would often refer to these actresses like that. And she said there's just like massive turnover on the show. And not just massive turnover with the walk-ons and things like that, but massive turnovers with people who actually had parts, like featured parts and stuff, and they would just turn them over. And she said it was because they would get bored having sex with the teen, or a parent would find out, or the teen wouldn't have sex. And she just said there was a wide variety of reasons, but that she's never been on anything like that where it's just like this constant churning of people. And you know, you get used to seeing different extras and different walk-ons every week on a show, but that these were actual people who had parts, and they're just writing them off, just bye, see you later, and just replaced with other random people. Not even pretending to make up where this other person had gone or explain it or anything like that. And this is all, of course, you know, there was internet, and it was 1996, 1997. But you know, unless somebody from all that gets on there and talks about it, it pretty much just went away. And I don't think that nowadays you would necessarily, I think people would have questions. Why are these people all being turned over? Where are they going? Why are they leaving? Why are they all getting fired? Why? And now if you look at it later, how come none of them ever worked again? What was it about this experience at Nickelodeon that made them to never ever want to act again, ever?
Now, if that doesn't put some perspective into Amanda's situation, I don't know what will. Amanda truly thought she was bringing the truth out about a dark network that had allowed abuse behind the scenes for years. Who knew what Amanda had witnessed on those sets? But for her to go and tell someone she had just met, clearly it was gnawing at her. Amanda was whistleblowing, and she didn't even know it. The part that breaks my heart the most is how surprised she was when she saw him again after leaking it to him, saying that she thought that rumor was going to bring the entire Nickelodeon network down, implying that that's what she wanted to do. Amanda wanted the truth about Nickelodeon out to the world. Now, because I was so involved in the Free Britney movement, I always got confronted with these claims, and I always dismissed them as conspiracy, saying we'll never know. And I'll still maintain that the world will never know what truly happened. But after hearing the source of these claims and knowing how close Amanda was to Dan Schneider for so many years, no matter the truth of the claims, it makes me look at Amanda Bynes and Jamie Lynn Spears entirely differently. Today, Amanda is doing much better than she was just a few years ago. Like I said, she's selling out art shows and taking her own celebrity by the horns. Amanda's latest venture is her OF, where she communicates to her fans for $50 a month. And the page already features over 180 likes and only one post. That means that the page has grossed nearly $9,000 before OF takes their cut. No matter what Amanda does, it's safe to say the world will be watching. And if her past says anything about her future, we know Amanda is going to make the biggest splash possible. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching the series. I didn't really know how to end it. She's still kind of actively living her life, and year by year we get these little updates and glimpses into her world, but it's been long enough that I felt like I could make a video that was fully rounded out about how the entire situation ended with her conservatorship and how her story played out in the public eye. If you enjoyed this series, please be sure to click that subscribe button and click the like button below. Comment below what you think about all of this. I will definitely be in the comments on this one talking to you all, because Amanda Bynes is one of the most interesting topics to me. I am obsessed with her, if you can't tell. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all later. Bye.
Diamonds on my neck, on my wrist. Diamonds on my fish. Yeah, I'll wear